Great. Okay, so hopefully, ideally, in our fondest dreams, we finish the Noble War today. Level up on Oak Dragon. Okay. Let's take that health up and inventory looks pretty good. All right. So what's left? Another mission. Just a patrol. It's not even really counting. We already bought our stuff here. So what then? Oh, my Konus. Well, we don't have that many visitors we can get missions out of. I guess we can get one out of Weisenhofen. Let's go check up there. There we go. Glorious success. Glorious, glorious success. All right, so Noble War is done. What does that leave? This might be a short Battle Brothers stream. I think that's all I wanted to complete on this campaign. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where's my achievement? Where's my defeat all 3 late game crises on Ironman mode? That's what just fucking happened. A bit confused right now. Good morning, Kate. Hey, Lido. Hey, Tosny. Hello, Shiro. I like seeing that sub icon again. Yeah, could do that for Leaf. Considering that. Trying to decide if we're done with playthroughs of Battle Brothers or not. I've enjoyed it. I like a goal. I don't really feel like this playthrough has a goal anymore. I don't mind just doing random missions, but I don't always just want to do random missions. My goal is to get my friggin' cultist to do his job and kill somebody, but he's been a relatively tame cultist. Big on preserving life. Black Mono without 2-handed weapons. I think it's just going to be a slaughter. Yeah. Okay, I guess the Noble War is not actually technically over right now, or these things would have reset their standings to me, right? I feel like it's kind of weird, the ambition's fulfilled, but I don't actually feel like I haven't got the other pop-up events. There's normally a pop-up event about some nobles like giving you a hard time. I haven't got that achievement yet. I don't think it's quite over. I think we're close to over, but not quite over. No, I don't really want to do that. Escort caravan to Wormberg in the south. I think that's fairly interesting. Okay, let's do that. I don't know, Lido. You just said that. You said like three months, but I don't have any notification on anything that I subscribe, anything that tracks that stuff. Generally Streamlabs does that. Maybe it's delayed. We'll give it a few minutes and see. But thanks for the resub, Lido. And I'm glad you enjoyed the Battle Brothers guide videos. I plan on doing a couple more if all goes well here. Alright, let's take this escort. Are we in our traveling setup? Run a no shield run. The thing is, there we go. Achievement unlocked, Savior. During camp. I think though that was the last piece of this puzzle. The thing about doing things like removing range units or removing shields, for example, is I'm not sure it makes the game any more fun or challenging for me. I think it just removes options that make the game interesting to me. So we tried it with no two-handers because I've basically been told two-handers are the end-all be-all, that all the serious players of this game know that two-handers are the end-all be-all of builds in this game, and I don't buy it, and it wasn't true. I thought about a no bow run where I'd use crossbows to prove that you can probably make crossbow range work as well, but I don't know. I don't really know. So, and I'm not super thrilled about the idea of a no shield run. It will cause an insane amount of deaths early. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm done with it. I've been enjoying the hell out of this game. I'm not sure that I'm ready to just be totally done with it. I don't know. Oops, trying to check the weaponsmith and armor. Those caravan contracts did not do shit for us this playthrough. I don't think I generated a single legendary. Let's take a look. How many days was this in the end? Oops. How many people did we lose? Nice. Healthy obituary. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 on Brother Kate. 18, 19, 20. 20 dead. Dead. Let's play through. 332 days played. Pretty happy with our final guys. I liked our axe duelists quite a lot. This build seemed pretty nice to me. I think for the non-iron lung builds, I think I've settled on this build here, where gifted doesn't make it into the build because it's just I can't drop anything else. I don't like not having underdog on the duelists. I really prefer around 40 final defense on the duelist, which is probably almost impossible to do, but we'll see. It makes it very hard judging from stats alone whether to build a duelist or a two-hander. I don't think there's anything in specific that tells you. Perhaps the two-handers can have slightly less stamina, but not by much. If I look at what we're looking at here, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. So, could go play around with City of the Damned this morning. I wasn't sure. I was expecting to have a couple more missions for that. We could go bust some really deep orc camps. I could think about starting another run. Wish I had made this decision before, but for some reason I thought I had a couple more hours of Noble War left. I didn't think I had to make the decision right now. The Megas really carried this playthrough. My sure-footed, determined Megas seem pretty fucking nice. Our Megas were great. Megas were really solid. I don't think I needed 4 of them though. I think 3 would have been fine. I would have liked 1 more Archer. Perhaps another hybrid. The hybrids did so much work this playthrough as well. I liked our duelists. I'm glad we finally found some weapons that didn't suck for our duelists. Those was really nice. The orc axes were very strong. Both of them were amazing rolls. Like, these are exceptional rolls. And this cleaver.
Have returned.
Welcome back, Dogart B. Thank you for the resub. 3 months. And my suspicion then, Lido, is that it's something on your end. I'm not quite sure, since I am seeing the notifications for other resubs, including Prime resubs, man. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. I enjoyed our Blueberry Hunter. I think, in reality, I think the spec is probably too specialized. The fact that it only ever fights Geist is okay. It's not necessary either is the problem. Like, on my fights as it is now with 2 Bannermen, I don't need this character. I think as we start getting up into like 8, 9, or 10 Geists in a fight, I think we're gonna want something like the Blueberry Hunter, but I'm not sure it's entirely necessary going into that, which is too bad. I really like the build. The build is really different from pretty much anything else we're running. Thanks for the resub, Lido. And I did like finally getting a use out of Dagger Mastery. It was fun checking out in this playthrough. It was really fun checking out the alternates. See, I think if I were to play with hybrids again, I would not use the throwing weapons even though they were useful. I would probably go back to replacing this with a 2-handed axe, which has been very, very useful. And arguably I shouldn't keep that dagger. The dagger was convenient this playthrough for daggering people down. But in reality, I should probably throw that in with a net. It should probably be 2-handed axe and net. Is probably the last 2 things I'd do here. Throwing weapons were good, but they're too stamina intensive. That's the funniest part. The biggest problem with the throwing weapons, the javelins were kind of shit. They never really did fucking anything. The legendary throwing axes were really good. They did a ton of damage. Things are really high damage. But the thing is this. They wreck your stamina. Like, unbelievably wreck your stamina. Like, I can't afford to use them. Even if I use them once or sometimes twice in a fight, like, I'm well aware from then on that I've used them in that fight and I don't have stamina to do anything ever again. So it's kind of funny. Like, I liked fitting them in for their usage. I want to make sure the builds are up to date. Let me just double check that. Make sure that those builds are. The ordering's not perfect, but I think I did finally settle on some stuff with that. Let's take a look at our archers. Archers ended up as a student, gifted, bullseye, anticipation, bow spec, berserk, killing frenzy, steel brow, executioner, headhunter, and nimble. I ended up quite liking that build. The nimble actually was surprisingly decent on the archers. It acts as another RNG reduction attempt to keep your archers alive. The hybrids, they were good all game. They're just not good versus orcs. They're good in every other fight, and they're quite good in every other fight. Quick hand. I mean, the other thing they could do is I could get a point back by removing. If I pull these 2 out of the inventory, you could actually get a point back and not run bags and belts. Although it's going to really impact their stamina in a negative way. And I would like to fit that 2-handed axe in there again for certain times. But the hybrids with student, quick hands, backstabber, anticipation, bags and belts, gifted or colossus, expo spec, killing frenzy, berserk, brawny, and battleforged. I really liked. I felt like Battleforged and Brawny gave them enough health. They could be hit by a couple arrows and live. They could get the occasional guy flanking them and live. They could get hit by the occasional but not many orc warriors and live. I felt like they were fairly tanky. The things I would like from them, I would love to fit Adrenaline in the build, but I don't think they really have the stamina to use it. And I would have liked to figure out something else I wanted in this build that's blanking on right now. What the hell was it? Same with footwork. I don't really think they have the stamina to use that repeatedly, and I prefer to use megas to rotate them out. Executioner, of course, is always nice, but it's not that essential here. The ones I'm not so sure about, I think Backstabber may be overkill. It's tough to say. It's basically +10 attack on every single attack roll that they ever do for the entire course of the game. and they're not rolling on 95s all the time. They roll on 95s versus zombies. With anything with a shield, they're not rolling on a 95. So I don't think that's overkill. I think that's fairly useful. I liked Berserk on them this playthrough. I think I was actually quite decent for them. So those were pretty solid, from my opinion. The duelist spec. This is the non-axe duelist spec. This is the cleaver. I would only ever recommend cleaver with the legendary cleaver. These are the axe specs. I tried 3 different variants. This is the recover. This is the Iron Lungs axe spec. Ideally, this is what the cleaver would have. It would have Iron Lungs. I think Iron Lungs I would go to a non-axe weapon every time, because then you're doing the legendary human cleaver like this is fucking amazing if this character had Iron Lungs. The axe build, I like the one with underdog, which is this build here, which requires no gifted, which is a little bit unfortunate. And I liked Berserk on the duelists. Actually, I liked it more on the duelists than I did the two-handers, like quite a lot. Just look at that. So that becomes... There's no quick hands in that. So we didn't end up using a shield duelist at all, did we? Oops. That was cover, brawny, rotate, underdog, battle forged, killing frenzy, duelist, berserk, weapon spec, and what was the last one? Recover. I already have recover in there. What's the last part of this? Headhunter. Okay. Didn't end up going duelist with shield. I'd be really kind of surprised what we're going to give up to do duelist with shield. If we have to pick up quick hands and a shield, we've got to build some initiative into that character. Suddenly, I don't know where you're going to get the stats to do it. Feels you need a very exceptional character for that. The no shield duelists were a little bit better than I thought. They definitely had survivability issues. They were definitely fragile. I could see that whenever they'd fight orcs or whenever they'd fight nobles, they would take a lot of damage. You know, they almost require legendary armor too. I think they're better for single target damage than the two-handers were, though. If I had to think that through, they were very efficient at killing a guy in a round, especially versus brigands and especially versus nobles, in a way that the two-handers rarely did. A lot of times the two-handers would do damage to 2 units or 3 units, but it would still take them 2 or 3 rounds to kill those units. So I don't know. I think I would use both, but I don't think I would build more duelists than I had weapons for in future playthroughs. I think that's what they're going to be. They're going to be using legendary weapons. So I kind of like that. I felt like I figured that out a little bit more than I did last time. Brawny, rotate, underdog, battle forged, killing frenzies, duelist, weapon spec, berserk, recover. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Pretty happy with that. So anyways, those builds got pretty well finalized. We did end up using some two-hander builds here, but I think I just used the ones from last season. I didn't think anything of the two-handed axe. I thought the two-handed axe was shit as a primary weapon spec for a two-hander. I think the two-handed axe is still what I would like to do on the tanks, the early game tanks. So I don't know that I would use this build again. This build was basically a replacement for the axe build. I think I would instead run... don't think I'd run Hammer Mastery. The Mace Master is actually really good across the course of the playthrough, better than I gave it credit for, because even late game it was good for stunning high value targets like sergeants, Zweihanders, knights, hedge knights, stunning them without destroying their armor and postponing when I had to kill them before they did large amounts of damage. So I would take that again. I liked Recover on the front line build. I liked having Shield Spec, but I think I would end up probably dropping Mace Master or Hammer Mastery and Shield Expert, and I would probably pick up Quick Hands and Bags and Belts on these guys, and I would probably run two-handed axes on them, and that's what I'd do for damage. The goal would basically be like I used them in a couple playthroughs ago, which is they're mostly frontline with maces, and then when they need to do damage, they pull out a two-handed axe and smash something with a two-handed axe when they're not in danger themselves, style thing. So that would be good. They would also potentially let them do things like net, so I could have more nets available if I want to. I'd like to try nets again on orcs. I hate the fact they're consumable, but I think I like that. I thought we did a decent job figuring out, after a while, the positioning to eat orc stuns with the orc necklace, but I still found that orcs were by far the hardest fight without two-handers. Not even the orc warriors. Orc warriors were scary. They did a lot of damage, but that wasn't the biggest problem. It was the constant stunning from the orc young. And it's just that, in my opinion, A, there's no room to fit Indomitable in an axe build like this. There just isn't a perk to give up, in my opinion. And B, that Indomitable does not synergize for shit with duelists. And it's because their attacks are 4-cost attacks, which means you can either attack twice, or you can attack once in Indomitable, which means you're giving up half your damage. On the two-handers, you're actually able to Indomitable and still attack, which is a really big fucking deal. So, I don't know. Headhunter on Duelist. I would say 100% on the axes, because the axes have an ability that when you hit them with the one-handed axe, it inflicts an additional 50% damage on a hit to the head, which means you want to hit heads with that, and it does so much damage when you do that. I don't think it's as important on the other ones. It's not that much of a damage increase on the other ones. I think a two-handed team can a duelist with a weapon like the cleaver compete. Yeah, I do. I think the legendary weapons make the duelist build. Okay. Do I feel like playing Battle Brothers anymore? Yeah, I do. Although I don't think I'm immediately ready to dive into another campaign. I would like some sort of goal. The most fun I have in Battle Brothers is devising and figuring out builds, and then seeing them in action. And we've kind of, I don't expect that that I'm gonna see another spec change. The only things I haven't really played with that I'd be very interested in playing with are some sort of real throwing mastery spec, and maybe a pure crossbower, like an arbalist guy, even though I suspect a pure crossbower is just going to be a bad version of a pure archer. So I'm not real thrilled about that idea. I'm not even sure what I could do for that. I mean, the archers pretty much have every damage perk on the board. They're missing fast adaptation, they're missing crippling strikes, but crippling strikes I found to be a lot less useful than I initially given it credit for. So, I mean, like, okay, so I don't take, so I can maybe drop Steel Brow and maybe Nimble by picking up heavier armor on a crossbower, and pick up fast adaptation and crippling strikes, but I'm not actually sure that changes the character very much, and I think giving up the range is worse pretty much every way. So I don't know how excited I'd be about that. And I don't like the single shot mechanic of the crossbow compared to the double shot of the archers. Except versus goblins. Versus goblins it's fine. So I don't know. I don't know that I have another build that I would want to play right now. Lone Wolf seemed entirely useless this game again. Except on the Blueberry Hunter. And everybody else seemed totally bad to me. I don't know where you'd fit Lone Wolf in. I don't see Overwhelm being that useful. Reach Advantage was good on AoE two-handers, but not on much else. And it just helps offset how wimpy they are. I guess a duelist with a shield would be something I'd be really interested in, although I don't know how that build would fit together. I guess I could throw that out there, like things I'm kind of interested in. Maybe throw out a Season 8 sheet, even if we don't do it. Oops. Too much talking for this stage in the morning. Alright, Season 7 builds. An initiative dude would be interesting. I don't know what the fuck I'd do with an initiative dude. It's so rare that I need to act first. And I would have loved to have found a way to put adrenaline in. Adrenaline seemed to be okay on the pure pikes, but didn't seem to be something I could fit in on the hybrids. And the hybrids don't have the stam to run adrenaline long term. I mean, if I look at that build, the only thing I could see getting rid of would be, bags and belts. Oh, this is the wrong one to look at. But if I drop bags and belts and maybe gifted, and I feel really bad about dropping gifted on a hybrid, I'd feel terrible about it. I could maybe fit in adrenaline plus recover. I don't know. I don't know if that's worth it. Okay. It's ETA on the current last episode of Battle Brothers. Jesus, I don't know, man. We have so much Battle Brothers content right now. Okay. So this campaign, I think, is essentially over. This is the way the map ended up. We won 2 cities for the green guys. Green guys lost some cities on their own. These ones here. The red guys came out with what they had before, which is kind of surprising. I didn't like the jungles in this map. I think this playthrough I ended up doing a lot of mission-oriented stuff. Oh, I know what I did want to do. I wanted to compare Renowned here. So this is day 332, so it's a little tricky to do that, but our total Renown ended up being at 6585. And I wanted to compare that to our previous games. 6585, and this is day 332. Did I try the monolith in this playthrough? No, I really think monolith requires two-handed weapons. Although maybe it doesn't, but I don't really feel like this group would survive monolith. So what we're looking at, day 332. Okay, we actually have a 322 save on our last playthrough. Let me just kind of check the renown on our 322 save. Kind of curious. $6975. Yeah. So in our previous playthrough, we busted a shit ton of camps, and we were head and renowned. And the renown, the amount of renown you have determines the amount of in part the difficulty of the camps, I believe, right? So I'm kind of curious by the end then. End of the campaign, what do we have? You get a ton of renown for doing the monolith, I believe. $80-20 after the monolith. It's interesting. And what do we have for some of the other playthroughs? Just out of curiosity, this was too early. I think this was the one we gave up on because we couldn't go bus camps enough. Is that right? Yes. What was the renowned here? 5420 on day 400. Yeah. So, busting camps, huh? That was the fastest way to renown in the last one. And that kept the most interesting fights for me, the fights that kept me intrigued with the game. I like the very, very large undead fights versus the Geists and Necromancers. I don't know. I'm going to do a guide video at some point about the perks. Maybe this week, if I can get to it. But I think I would have liked... I don't know, like I almost want to build guys based on where the monolith is and attempt that sooner in the playthrough. Make that the goal. So, you like the huge noble fights this time? That's good. The huge noble fights weren't all that interesting to me. I mean, the fights where it was me versus a huge number of nobles were fine, but I don't like the ones where I have nobles on my side. I don't like how laggy the game gets for playing with like 40 on 40. So, hey Vermeer. So, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. kind of interesting. All right. I'm gonna challenge run to get the monolith after the first game crisis ends. I don't really feel like you can just get the monolith. It's not like something... The monolith fight is so... It's not polarizing. It's not quite the word I'm looking for. It's so... Man, blanking on the word I want. It makes... You have to have such an extreme build for the monolith fight, in my opinion. So... Yes, I like the piracy in this campaign as well. I think I will be doing that again if I can find the right house for it. I like that quite a lot. I like the builds this playthrough. I like playing around with the duelist builds. I wish I'd fought more orcs this playthrough. I missed my orc fights. I find orc fights one of the most fun fights out there, since the orcs tend to be very, very challenging. And they also have a very high return on legendaries. I mean, this was the campaign of disappointing legendaries. I mean, what is the command for that? Is it just legendary? Where's my... Yeah. I think Kex has us up to date, right? I mean, let's look at this together. We had a piece of armor, our first legendary had a piece of armor that died. That's fair enough. We had a legendary one-handed throwing axes, which are mostly useless because you don't really have enough of them to do anything. We had like 4 pieces of good armor. We got the 2 orc axes and the cleaver. That was good. But we picked up a legendary flail late in the game, which is totally fucking useless. We picked up a really bad orc cleaver. We picked up like 6 or 7 terrible shields. Like, how many was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shields. And of those 7 shields, not one of them was better than a basic shield. All of them were worse or equal to basic shields out of 7 fucking legendary shields. That's terrible. Picked up 2 legendary two-handers, and they were both bad. We literally bought those only because that got us around our restrictions on what we could play with. The best shields we got in this game were the orc shields, because they at least had something above and beyond a regular orc shield, which I can't say was true of our heater shields. Our one-handed swords, terrible. Like, every piece of gear we picked up except the armor and the orc weapon and the 3 duelist weapons that were good were terrible. I mean, that's such a low percentage of good stuff, and this is a low percentage of legendaries. It feels like at this part of the game to me. I mean, our legendary arsenal last time was so much better, and I think in large part because all we did last playthrough was run around and bust camps. In this playthrough, we did a lot of missions. We beat all the crises. We were an active participant in all the crises. And we spent a lot of time in this area running missions and not enough time out in the wilds busting camps. So. Yeah, I don't know, Kex. I think I'm going to try expert economic difficulty again and see if that does anything for our number of legendaries. I don't think so, right? Because we had the one before we didn't. So, hey, Zylo. So I don't know. I liked this playthrough, the two-handed stuff. I mean, I don't know. We definitely could have beat Goblin City, but I didn't really want to do a Goblin City in the marsh. Like, I don't feel like that's fun at all. And the problem with Goblin City for me is, like, once I beat Goblin City, like, that seems to be an end game goal to me. The fact it gives me loot doesn't seem to be all that relevant. I'm not so sure. I don't think we could have handled Monolith. I feel like two-handed swords are so good versus the Monolith, because what you really want to do is back rank damage. And a Monolith in the swamp negates a lot of the advantages of the duelist, since the duelist loses all of his mobility doing that. So, hey Kex, I was walking through, just recapped all the builds, recapped the playthrough. I was talking about potentially doing another run or not, and if so, what were going to be our restrictions for that. So, yeah, Kex, if you have ideas, please throw them out there. Alright. How do we do on, I just compared our total renown. We're about 500 renown behind where we were at the same time in the last playthrough. And, of course, we're way behind what we finished the last playthrough at, but we're like 80 days behind where we finished the last playthrough too. yeah, Xylo, we completed the 3 crises and don't really have any goals for this campaign past that. There aren't good orc lands. The wilds in this game were just a lot less good than the wilds in the last game. So I'm kind of curious about total cost of our guys too at the end of this. So what did we end up with? We ended up with a farmhand, a messenger, a monk, a adventurous noble, cultist, squire, a sellsword, hedge knight, another sellsword, 3 hunter. Oh, that's 2 hunters and a sellsword. Kijichizi ended up being a sellsword. I remember that. Another sellsword. I think we ended up a lot of sellswords this place. So that's 3, 4 sellswords. Another farmhand. Some nice roll on a farmhand then. Jesus. And this was without any fucking stars too. Why did he end up so ridiculous? I don't know. A butcher. A brawler. Another cultist. He didn't start as a cultist. He was dumb and got converted. Another squire. Another hedge knight. I think that was only 2 hedge knights then. And another sellsword. Really only 2 hedge knights? Jesus, we almost didn't need a monk. We only ended up with 2 hedge knights. And really, this hedge knight probably should have been tossed because he didn't have enough melee defense. We probably could have done this with just 1 hedge knight. It's interesting. Alright. Anyways, let's back out of here. I think we're going to do some Mordheim for now.